मातृ प्रणाम 1, 2, 3। या कुंदेन्दु तुषार हार धवला, या शुभ्रवस्त्रावृता, या वीणावरदण्डमण्डितकरा, या श्वेतपद्मासना, या ब्रह्माच्युतशङ्करप्रभृतिभिर्देवैः सदा वन्दिता, सा मां पातु सरस्वती भगवती निशेषजाड्यापहा। मातृ प्रणाम 1, 2, 3। श्लोक अर्थ। जो विद्या की देवी भगवती सरस्वती कुंद के फूल, चंद्रमा, हिम राशि और मोती के हार की तरह धवल वर्ण की है, और जो श्वेत वस्त्र धारण करती है, जिनके हाथ में वीणा दंड शोभायमान है, जिन्होंने श्वेत कमलों पर आसन ग्रहण किया है, तथा ब्रह्मा, विष्णु एवं शंकर आदि देवताओं द्वारा जो पूजित हैं, वही संपूर्ण जड़ता और अज्ञान को दूर कर देने वाली माँ सरस्वती हमारी रक्षा करे।
Thank you, Vishesh. Now I would like to request our dignified chief invitee for the day, Dr. Kusum Devi, Assistant Professor, Department of English, Shamla College Evening, University of Delhi. Ma'am has completed her graduation, post-graduation, MPhil and PhD in English Literature from University of Delhi. Ma'am has a teaching experience of more than 12 years. Ma'am has written various articles in reputed national and international journals. She has been part of several successful seminars as well. Also, ma'am is the editor of college annual magazine Satvak. Ma'am, we extend our welcome to you. Please grace the platform with your words.
A very good evening to all the colleagues, Dr. D.N. Singh, Dr. Manish Karamwar, present here, and all the dear students. It gives me immense pleasure to be the part of today's event that is being organized by the History Society Sakshya of our college. And I would like to congratulate to the Department of History for taking this good initiative to organize the Graduate Scholars Talk Series for the students. It provides a platform to the students to think and to read and research on various topics, to share their views, and to learn the management skills, because organizing any program also enhance your the skills in a very positive way. So the Department of History is doing a good job in this regard, especially the students of our college. Every Sunday they organize a lecture and they invite some the speakers. Most of the speakers are, I think, students. As I see the poster that most of the participants or the speakers, they are students, graduate students, and they share their views. Today's topic for the lecture is language, land, and the people. And Miss Manisha Verma, if I'm not wrong, her name is Manisha Verma. She is going to share her views on this topic. And as I think, it seems to be a very interesting topic, because language, as we know and as we read, generally we read language in the perspective of literature or language as a pure subject. We just try to understand the evolution of language and we focus on the purity of language, right? That any language in the either Hindi, English, Urdu, or any other language, while we are learning language, we learn the structure of language, we learn language as a system. But there are various other aspects related to the language, history of language, and the evolution of language that we see. because practically if we observe language, then we see that there are many things, many perspectives which are not covered in the study of language as a structure or as a system. So I hope that today Miss Manisha Verma, she will throw a light on this topic, and the students and the participants as well as the teachers, they will know the language and its evolution and fusion in a very different way, because that would be interesting to see how a language is impacted or affected by the various incidents and happenings which take place in the history of any land, any country, and how it is used by the people of that particular land. So we all should welcome Miss Manisha Verma. If there is no other formality, I think she is going to start. So we should welcome her and encourage her to share her views and learn something in a different way regarding the language. Thank you, students. We should start the lecture of our participant, Ms. Manisha Verma. Over to you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you very much, ma'am, for encouraging us and also giving your valued insights. Moving on, now I would like to call the speaker of the day, Ms. Manisha Verma of Lakshmi College, University of Delhi, who is going to speak on one of the most sensitive yet significant issue for each and every citizen of this beautiful country, that is the language, land and the people. You know, language has always been an issue from the earliest of times, and it got more and more intense with the passage of each era. And in present times as well, the debate around the language has been the root cause of widespread anger and severe incidents. But this diverse nature of language is also one of the most fascinating feature of our nation. So Ms. Manisha is going to let us know about this contentious topic from the period of independence and its development further. Meanwhile, if you have any questions, put it down in the comment section. Mr. Vishesh will take up those once the speaker is over with her detailed and informative talk. Ms. Manisha.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Good evening, ma'am, Ajay sir, Manish sir, and all the listeners who have came to listen to my talk. Well, good evening. Myself, Manisha Verma. I'm pursuing Masters in History from Lakshmi College. I thank Sakshi team and Manish sir for giving me such a great platform to express my thoughts towards my topic, language, land, and the people. What is language? The most central feature of human existence is language that helps us to communicate with each other. It also helps us to develop relations with everybody. Language is a medium to express our thoughts, feelings, and ideas. It is a mode of tool which helps people to connect with each other. Not just with people, it also connects us with our culture, our heritage, or our historical nature. For example, the Taj Mahal, the Nakashi of that place, the beautiful stoneworks talks about the handcraft and the beauty of that era. Language is everywhere, which helps us to understand everything. Language is the only medium which helps us to create an emotional build-up between humans and animals. Not giving too much time to this, I would like to start my topic, language, land, and the people, in which I'm going to include state reorganization on the base of language, why English is the dominating language, value of regional languages with northeast part of India, new education policy, how language can unite and divide us. India is a democratic country with a variety of ethnic culture, traditions, and languages. India has a diverse list of spoken languages among different groups of people. It has been rightly said that Indian languages changes every few kilometers, just like the water. No wonder this is true in every sense. India being a union of states with 28 states and 8 union territories with a variety of languages which changes every kilometer. But here I would like to share a brief history of Indian languages. The Indo-Aryan languages are developed and emerged in 3 stages. Old Indo-Aryan, 1500 BCE to 600 BCE. Middle Indo-Aryan from 600 BCE to 1000 CE. And lastly, New Indo-Aryan languages between 1000 CE to 1300 CE. Language spoken in India belongs to several language families, the major being the Indo-Aryan languages spoken by 58.5% of Indians and the Dravidian languages spoken by 19.6% of Indians. The most ancient and the most prevalent language is Sanskrit, which was introduced by Aryans. After that, India was conquered by the Islamic rulers. Then Persian became the language of most of the country. Then we saw Urdu as a combined language of Persian and Sanskrit. After that, the British came to India in the year of 1600 as traders, but later they settled as rulers. The English language overpowered Persian. At first, they used local language in the courts and other matters. Later, most of the function of government switched over to English language. For up to 200 years, English ruled on us. Then we saw independence after a very long time, but we only got independent from Britishers. That language was still ruling in our minds. Jawaharlal Nehru firstly appreciated the linguistic diversity in India. In an essay in 1937, he wrote that a living language is a throbbing, vital thing, ever changing, ever growing, and mirroring the people who speak and write it. He also added by saying that they are ancient languages with a rich inheritance, each spoken by many millions of people. India, many millions of people. That's his view in 1937. But after independence, once he saw the partition on the base of religion, he was having other thoughts. He was like, the country is already dividing, and now dividing it further will merely encourage the breakup of the union. He said, in any case, should not the new nation unite on the secular idea of peace, stability, and economic development, rather than caste and language? He said, right now, our first essential is India as a whole to be strong and firmly established, confident in the capacity to meet all possible dangers and problems. He was totally against the idea of state formation on the base of language. But the creation of linguistic state was, among other things, victory of a popular will. On the other hand, Mahatma Gandhi on 10th of October 1947 wrote, I do believe that we should hurry up with the reorganization of linguistic provinces. There may be an illusion for the time being that different languages stand for different cultures. But there is also the possibility of linguistic provinces that it may disappear. On 19th October 1952, a popular freedom fighter, Sri Ramulu, popularly known as Amarjeevi in Telugu states now, went on to fast, demanding the immediate construction of Andhra state. Both Nehru and Chief Minister of Madras totally ignored him. One of a journalist wrote that PM Jawaharlal Nehru at that time said, facts, not fast, would decide the issue. He crisscrossed India several times and delivered up to 132 speeches, but totally ignored language topic. Sri Ramulu died on the night of 15th or 16th December. After 56 days of his fast, his death provoked fire in public anger and protest. The state property was damaged in crores. Several protesters were killed in police firing also. After 2 days of uncontrollable protest, Nehru gave in, and against his will, Andhra state was formed, and Tamil Nadu was also created as a Tamil-speaking state too. On the formation day of Andhra, Nehru said to one of his colleagues that we have disturbed the hornet's nest, and I do believe that we all are going to be badly stung. As Nehru feared The creation of Andhra led the intensification of similar demand by other linguistic groups like Kannada, Malayalam, and Marathi speakers, all demanding separate states of their own. To meet this demand, positively and to delay the matter, Nehru in August 1953 appointed a state reorganization commission with Justice Fazal Ali and K.M. Panikkar. From 1954 to 55, members of commission traveled across India. They visited 104 towns and cities and interviewed more than 9,000 people and received 152,250 written submission. One of the longest and most interesting submission was from the Bombay Citizen Committee with Sir Purushottam Das Thakur and J.R.D. Tata. They have a one-point agenda to keep the country, to keep the city out of the state of Maharashtra. They made a 200-page of book replicate with charts, maps, and tables. SRC submitted its report on October 1955 while saying that due to consideration must be given to administrative and economic factors, it recognized for the most part of India, redrawing of state boundaries on linguistic basis will be helpful. Both on SRC's recommendations, State Reorganization Act was passed in Parliament in November 1956. It provided 14 states and 6 centrally administered territories. The 14 states were Andhra Pradesh, Assam, Bihar, Bombay, Jammu and Kashmir, Kerala, Madras, Mysore, and so on. The 6 union territories were Andaman and Nicobar, Delhi, Manipur, Tripura, and so on. But it's not that easy. The strongest reactions against this reorganization came from Maharashtra, where widespread rioting broke out and 80 people were killed in police firing in January 1957. The opposition parties supported with a large number of public opinions were students, farmers, workers, business persons organized a powerful protest. Under pressure, government divided Bombay state into 2 linguistic states of Maharashtra and Gujarat, with Bombay city forming a separate centrally administrated state. Another state which was against it was Punjab. In 1956, states PEPSU were merged with Punjab, which made Punjab a trilingual state with Punjabi, Hindi, and Pahari language. A demand of separate Punjabi state led by Akali Dal assumed communal overtones. Then Jarnail Singh also joins hand in this communal demand. Finally, in 1966, Indira Gandhi agreed to divide Punjab into Punjabi speaking state and Haryana as Hindi speaking state, and a common capital, Chandigarh, was inducted as a union territory. As Ramchandra Guha wrote, we survived a nation because we organized states on linguistic basis. Will not stretching it too much, let's move forward why English is a dominating language. The root of the reason why English has dominance over rest of the languages can be traced back during colonization period. The native speakers of English, Spanish and Portuguese are just fraction of their total number of speaking population. This became possible because of rule of colonization. As a ruling language in colonization period, even after 70 years of independence, India is not able to overcome from the issue on this matter. The issue is becoming more serious day by day and years after years. English is the second official language in India. The good thing is it connected the diverse culture of India in one thread. There is not one language spoken in India except English. The idea of taking a foreign language is helpful to communicate with other states is good but not best. India lacked that uniformity in language across the country, or even the attempt to make spread of Hindi in entire country was not successful. where China, on the other hand, successfully nationalized Mandarin language through there are other languages too, like Hakka, Wu, etc. English may not be the most spoken language in the world, but it's certainly the most influential. English is a language of globalization, technology dominating the world, not with any competition. America's dominance over cinema, TV, popular music, trade, technology throughout the years made English more universal. Today English has become the leading language in science, literature, in trade and commerce, and many more areas. It is also considered as the world's lingua franca, as over 55 countries speak it as their second language. Mark Washamer, one of a professor in University in California, said that English has become the second language of everybody. It has gotten to the point where in almost any part of the world, to be educated means to know English. Even in our day-to-day life, we have totally influenced by this language, as we prefer to watch more English movies, web series, songs, and so on. As per 2011 census, 10% of Indians speak in English. Almost every school follow same practice of using English as the first spoken language. For example, most of us have seen the movie English Medium, in which the parents are deadly they want their child to be in an English speaking school. But surprisingly, not only in education, English has impacted us in our judiciary, administration, mainstream, trade, national communication networks, and media. Even most non-government organizations all use the English language, totally ignoring the vast majority of mother tongue. Ironically, a foreign language which is not ours is enjoying the most prestige. Well, most of the people come out with clear reasoning. They want to learn this language to deal with government officers. Otherwise, they will not be considered as literate, as their voice will not be heard. But never do they believe that a standard language will replace their spoken language. They want to acquire power, but not by suppressing their own language. But in South India, not Hindi, neither English is their language. South Indian comprise one of the 5 Dravidian languages which are Kannada, Malayalam, Tamil, Telugu, and Tulu. Besides this, language also serve as official languages for the concerning states and its government purposes. Telugu possesses the third language base of native speakers in India. Language-based tensions have always been prevalent in South India, as Hindi is not truly accepted there. In many parts of South India, Hindi is a foreign language. In northeast of India, we find great relevance of nationalist, but communication is a big challenge in these areas. The operational needs are way different than what is spoken. The 8 states of Northeast India have 17 official languages, but the ethnic communities are facing serious issues in this respect. The language barrier in the south and northern states of India gives the feeling of separation. The citizens of these states consider themselves different from the rest of the nation due to their language difference. Somehow, language is being marginalized, and we need to be more inclusive of these languages. To make every language widely spread and to come out from different language problems, the government made a new education policy. Addressing a webinar on March 4th, 2021, Prime Minister Narendra Modi emphasized the need to overcome from the language barrier. he is working on a mission to overcome linguistic barriers. In the education system, he further added that it is under duty of academics and expert of every language to make available the best content in the country and the world in Indian languages. On this topic, the PM stressed the importance of the local languages. This preserves the diversity of India. The children will be allowed to learn three languages. These languages will be the choice of the state, regions, and of the students. So, as long as at least two of the three languages are native to India. He added on March 4th that a national language translation mission is to be starting. The government is working on a technology that can translate in real time various where Indian language to enable exchange of communication between two persons not speaking the same language. In South India, the language provisions of the new education policy are something that has already been in use. The schools in the state offers three languages including Hindi, Sanskrit, Marathi, Telugu, German, French and Urdu from class 1st to 12th. In these schools, Hindi is the most opted out language after Tamil. Many students in Tamil Nadu want to learn Hindi for a variety of reasons. Learning an additional language is a plus anyways. Hindi is most spoken language in India and it is important for employment opportunities. This shows the time when India was dividing on the base of language is starting to see the end of the day. The new era where the people cherish each and every language is awakening us. And in these times, it's up to the youth to embrace all languages of India with open hands. Well, this shows how a language can divide and unite us. Hindi speaking persons are rose up to 7.38% in Visakhapatnam, Chennai, Hyderabad, and Bangalore. Right now, we are in a great need of national language. But after 7 decades of independence, national language is remain as an interest of conflict. Whenever there is a proposal regarding this issue, agitations get started. As B.R. Ambedkar had said that one language can unite people, two languages are sure to divide them. This is an inexorable law. Culture is conserved by language. Since India wished to unite and develop a common culture, it is under duty of all citizens to own up Hindi as their official language. Even Mahatma Gandhi and Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel want India to have a single language. Their dream is to promote Hindi as our country language. Through India is right now not able to implement national language, the concept of bilingual policy is somehow maintaining the harmony in country. But we prefer to use English rather than any other language. We have totally forgotten that national language is of very great importance. The monopoly of national language brings out the togetherness among the citizens and uniformity in government functions. But we cannot say that English is not helpful to develop our culture. Where there is no language, there is English, which united which united us on one stage. We which united us on one stage. But we have totally forgotten that we have when it overpowered our native languages. In any field, whether in an interview or in friends circle, we use English there. The demand of English is this high that a person who speaks in it, other feels he or she is right. The educated Hindi or any other language speaking person are feeling less comfortable in society, and there is less confident also. They fear to feel illiterate. A person who is full of talent and compassion towards their work, feeling this is somehow impacting our country. We can easily see the dominance of English in our society. It's our time. We need to encourage our language in any field. It's very simple. We just have to stand and accept our language and encourage its use. We have to remember the culture and colors of our nation. Thank you. Us again. Thanks Sakshi team and Manish sir for giving me this platform. Thank you so much. Thank you, Kusum ma'am. Thank you, the listeners.
Okay, and thank you, Miss Manisha Verma, for having such a great talk. And you beautifully talked about the linguistic diversity of India. And it's really interesting. As A.R. Desai stated, that India presents a spectacle of museums of tongues. And a very famous linguist, George Grierson, noted that India has 179 languages and 554 dialects or sublanguages. You further put forward the different arguments of Pandit Nehru and Mahatma Gandhi on the reorganization of states on the linguistic criteria. And as you told about the division of Bombay province and the formation of Punjab and Haryana. And we came to know about the domination of English language and its contribution to our country. And you lastly talked about the north south linguistic integration. If we see the census figure of 2011, then the migration population surged between 2001 and 2011 in Tamil Nadu 98%, Karnataka 50%, Kerala 49%, and Andhra Pradesh 40%, in which Hindi speaking migrants captivated a significant portion. So there is a need of integration in these migrating regions. So, Mr. Ganesh Devi, a prominent literary scholar and activist of the country, advised to legalize some prominent migrating cities as multilingual cities, like smart cities. And government should, he advised that government should avoid any type of vandalism of removing language from the public places like airport and metro stations. And if we see the view of Mahatma Gandhi in his book, My Experiments with Truth, that all Indian, he stated that all Indian curricula of higher education should contain different languages like Hindi, Sanskrit, and Arabics, besides the local language of uh, region. And he said that better systematic learning the language could be a source of pleasure. And we see that a slightly modified version of his idea of Gandhian idea is manifested in the new education policy 2020 named as three language formula, which Miss Manisha alluded earlier. So I hope that the new policies will definitely improve the linguistic issues in our country. Now we have some questions from chat box. First is from Mr. Saurabh Singh. Uh, that what happens when we are actually able to remove language barriers?
Well, sorry. Well, on answering this, then we will have open doors for every language, as we will have a common language in speech, and our national language is already, as I said, is favorable in this matter. And for example, I would like to give an example on this. If we will have, we will remove the language barrier, then like Japan, we will also have a language which will unite us.
Okay. Okay, Miss Manisha. And the second one is from Mr. Ravi Shankar, that you think that a language may a symbol of unity on one hand, and on the other hand, it be a source of trouble as a barrier.
Sorry, I didn't get the question. Could you repeat, please?
Okay, sure. So the question is from Mr. Ravi Shankar, that you think that a language may a symbol of unity on one hand, and on the other hand, it be a source of trouble as a barrier.
Um, it's a symbol of unity. Of course, it's a symbol of unity. In a community, we need a language to communicate with each other, and it's not troublesome. I think we need a language to develop our culture also. If we'll communicate with peoples and encourage our culture with them, will if we will talk, then maybe it's a good thing if we will have a common language first, then we can develop our culture also. I think this is the question.
Okay. Okay, so the third one is from Miss Preeti, that is it possible that we lose the touch of our first language in rush to learn the second language, for instance, in most cases English, and how it affects one's identity?
Well, on answering this, I would like to give an example of let's give example of a teacher. Well, a Hindi or a Punjabi speaking teacher, every school have accepted right now English as their first language. So how come a Hindi or a Punjabi speaking teacher would survive on the atmosphere of other language where there are rules for teachers and students to only talk in English? So basically they will have an hour or 2 hour to talk with students in their language as per their subjects, but all day but all day in which language they are going to talk with teachers, with the faculty members. So this will directly implement the impact the person's identity, because he or she will feel less comfortable in that environment, I think.
Okay, okay, Manisha. And the one more is that from Subham Tiwari, that as you know, India has no national language, but there were much controversies over the Hindi language. So, do you think Hindi language has that ability to unite India? Though, according to 2011 census, Hindi is the language of less than 44% of Indians.
Okay, on the percentage talk, well, I want to say that it is in 2011, but right now it is 57.9% of Indian population who speaks in Hindi. So, on saying, do Hindi have the ability? Well, I think yes, Hindi have the ability if it have developed, and the government is also working in this process of making it more favorable for everyone to talk. So I think it's yes, Hindi have the ability, because we all sang the same song in schools, Jan Gana Mana as national anthem without any riyaj. So I feel that yes, if we need unity, then we need a language. Other than Hindi, I think there is less possibility for any other language to be on that stage as Hindi is today.
Okay, Manisha. Uh, we have another question from Mr. Raj, that when we see globalization from the below, which language do you think is going to be the language of global south?
Globalization. Well, English is already an language, a worldwide language, which is which has totally means. I mean, just a second. Globalization. Implemented. English is already implemented on most of the regions. The summits or whatever the acts was passed or something, it's in English. So I think English is the only language which can work on a worldwide base.
Okay, so you prefer English language. Okay, thank you,
Yeah,
Miss
I prefer
Manisha.
English
Oh,
because it is more. Any other languages of no competition right now. I think.
okay, okay, okay. Thank you, Manisha, for giving the answers. And I now it's over to Mr. Mudit.
Thank you, Vishesh. Thank you, Manisha. Now I would like to call Mr. Raj Thakur, who is the speaker for the next week, to brief us about his theme of the talk. Mr. Raj.
Hello everyone. My name is Raj Thakur and I am going to talk on the topic 1857 in Delhi on the next GSTS session, which is going to be held on next Monday. So as we know that 1857 was a event which was the most remarkable event, one of the most remarkable event in the history of our national movement. Okay, so when we talk about 1857, then we when we talk Mudit, stop messaging. When we talk about 1857, then it starts. Uh, then we cover all the parts of India. Like we cover Tata Tope, we cover Rani Lakshmi Bai, we cover all the parts of India. But when the focus shifts towards Delhi, then you can see many things. Then you can see the broader concept, or then you can see what actually happened in 1857 and what was the reason why India lost. We know that the 1857 was a great revolt. We encourage our, we actually accept our zeal, we accept our efforts, but it was an unsuccessful event. So what was the reason for that? What were the events taking place? All the things, like, but especially focusing in Delhi. What were the events which were happening in Delhi only? We will see loot, we will see devastation, we will see preparation, we will see sorrow, we will see joy, the commanders, the spies, the places. And I personally will try to link all the places where the incidents were happening in Delhi. Like we can imagine the place near Kashmiri Gate, which is Qudsiya Bagh. We can imagine the Delhi Ridge. We can imagine the Flagstaff Tower. We can imagine the St. James Church. We can imagine the all the parts which were directly related to Delhi. We can imagine Delhi College. All the parts which were related to 1857 events. The most important thing, I'll try to introduce commanders and the heroes from both the sides. The hero from British sides was John Nicholson. John Nicholson was the British hero of 1857, and from Indian side we will see many actors. But see, my topic actually will focus on the British side of victory, but I will try to add Indian preparations as well. And uh, uh, if I tell you in short, then my topic will cover only the events which are happening in Delhi. So this is all about my topic, like 1857 in Delhi.
Thank you, Raj. We are all keenly waiting for your talk on such a significant chapter of history with important nuances and details. Now, I would like to again welcome ma'am to share her views and inputs about today's talk and the Graduate Scholars Talk series.
First of all, I would like to congratulate Manisha Verma. That Manisha, you spoke so well on this topic. You have read about this topic and researched and collected many facts regarding the language politics in India after independence and the formation of states on the linguistic basis. All the things you covered in your lecture and all the politics of language in India, you have presented so well that gives much insight into that the area or that topic. But Manisha, I would like to suggest you one thing, that as the topic of your lecture was language, land, and the people. I think the lecture you have presented, it matched more with the language politics in India, right? And the other thing that I would like to suggest, that in history generally, as whenever you present any topic, especially in history, you are supposed to take a particular period, right? Because the language, especially in India, that is a vast thing in itself. Because the history of language in India is, in a way, is different from the other countries, because the influence over language or the impact over language that we see, there are many points over which we see that major influence, how it impacted or influenced Indian languages, right? So if you would have taken a particular period that you are going to cover this much era, though you started your lecture from the very beginning of the Dravidian language and the Aryan languages, still that is for your the research work, that in history, if you take a particular period or particular era, then it becomes more effective. You presented your lecture so well, and all the facts you have presented so well, that your lecture is amazing and much informative. Even for a person who has much concern with literature, many things are new for me, because I don't know much about those facts related to the language politics in India, right? In India, as you said in your lecture, that India, it is a land of linguistic diversity. There are so many languages spoken in our country, and not only spoken, but the literature is also available in those languages, like Bengali, right? Bengali has been much dominating language throughout the independence struggle, that when India was fighting for its independence, then Bengali was much dominating language. Even the first Nobel Prize which Rabindranath Tagore got, that was the Gitanjali, it was originally written in Bengali, and later on it was translated into English, and he was awarded Nobel Prize for that work, right? लैंग्वेज पॉलिटिक्स इंडिया में बहुत ही एक उस तरह की कॉम्प्लेक्स चीज है अपने आप में, जिसे समझना दो एस्पेक्ट से जरूरी होता है. वन, लैंग्वेज पॉलिटिक्स, एंड अदर द प्रैक्टिकल एस्पेक्ट ऑफ लैंग्वेजेस, द प्रैक्टिकल पर्पस विच लैंग्वेज सर्व. Language as a means of communication or a medium of communication, it does not make much difference which language I am using to express my feelings or thoughts or ideas, right? The way I feel convenient, I express myself, or the people with whom I am communicating, it depends on that perspective also, that with whom I am speaking or I am communicating. ठीक है. अगर किसी को हिंदी सपोज नहीं आती है और मैं उससे हिंदी में बात करूं, तो वो तो कम्युनिकेशन किसी भी पर्पज का नहीं होगा, क्योंकि मैं जिससे बात कर रही हूँ उसको वो लैंग्वेज समझ ही नहीं आ रही, व्हाट आई वांट टू कन्वे, तो उसको नहीं समझ आएगा मैंने क्या कहा. ठीक है. तो जो दोनों ही पार्टीज होती हैं जो भी कम्युनिकेशन में इन्वॉल्व है, वो एक सिमिलर लैंग्वेज दोनों को आनी चाहिए. दैट इज द पर्पज ऑफ लैंग्वेज, दैट इट इज अ मीडियम ऑफ कम्युनिकेशन. ठीक है. दूसरा आता है लैंग्वेज पॉलिटिक्स. तो लैंग्वेज पॉलिटिक्स जो है उसका प्रैक्टिकल एस्पेक्ट कहीं ना कहीं उसमें इग्नोर किया जाता है, क्योंकि इंडिया का अगर आप ज्योग्राफिकल कंडीशंस आप देखेंगे, यहाँ की लैंग्वेज का जो एक सिनेरियो है आप देखेंगे, जैसे कि सपोज इंग्लिश और हिंदी, बोथ लैंग्वेजेस आर स्पोकन वाइडली इन इंडिया. बट अगर मैं ये कहूँ कि साउथ इंडिया में जिसको हिंदी या इंग्लिश नहीं आती है, जिसको मलयालम आती है, और मैं उसको फोर्स करूँ कि वो हिंदी या इंग्लिश को ही ऑप्ट करे बोलने के लिए या पढ़ने के लिए या लिखने के लिए, दैट वुड बी अनफेयर विद दैट पर्सन, क्योंकि उसको तो मलयालम आती है, या उसको तो तमिल या तेलुगु आती है, उसको इंग्लिश या हिंदी नहीं आती. तो दैट इज माय ओपिनियन. और जब हम इस तरह से इम्पोज करते हैं कोई भी लैंग्वेज किसी दूसरे जो लोग दूसरे कल्चर को समझते हैं या किसी दूसरे लैंग्वेज को जानते और बोलते हैं, तो उनके लिए वो बहुत अनफेयर होता है, एंड समवेयर दे फील द लॉस ऑफ देयर आइडेंटिटी. उनको ऐसा लगता है कि उनकी आइडेंटिटी उनसे छीनी जा रही है, क्योंकि हम जो आइडेंटिटी अपने लिए फील कर रहे हैं या जो हम सही समझ रहे हैं, हम उनके ऊपर इम्पोज कर रहे हैं, राइट. तो प्रैक्टिकली जब भी उस तरह की एक नेशनल लैंग्वेज की बात आती है कि इंडिया में कोई इस तरह की नेशनल लैंग्वेज हो या कोई एक लैंग्वेज हो, वो इंडिया के लिए बहुत ही एक चैलेंजिंग जॉब है, क्योंकि चाहे वो उस लैंग्वेज को ना बोलते हो, चाहे वो इंग्लिश को ही बोलते हो, बट बात जब ये आएगी कि नहीं, मलयालम की बजाय सबको इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज एक्सेप्ट करनी है एज ए नेशनल लैंग्वेज, देन इट वुड बी अ बिग चैलेंज, बिकॉज समवेयर दे विल फाइंड द लॉस ऑफ देयर आइडेंटिटी, कि नहीं, उनसे जो है मलयालम पढ़ने लिखने का एक राइट छीना जा रहा है. वैसे ही बात हिंदी की आती है कि अगर हम ये कहें कि पूरे देश भर में लोग हिंदी बोलें, हिंदी पढ़ें, तो जो नॉन हिंदी स्पीकिंग जितने भी रीजन्स हैं, जो लोग पंजाबी बोलते हैं या बंगाली बोलते हैं, मलयालम बोलते हैं, उनके लिए कहीं ना कहीं वो एक तरह से लॉस ऑफ आइडेंटिटी होगा, या वो उसको ऐसे भी मान सकते हैं कि थेफ्ट ऑफ आइडेंटिटी, कि उनकी आइडेंटिटी उनसे जबरदस्ती छीनी जा रही है, राइट. हम अपने आप को सही साबित कर रहे हैं और हम उनको इंफीरियर बता रहे हैं, राइट. क्योंकि एक तो क्लास पहले से ही हमारे यहाँ सुपीरियर और इंफीरियर का बना हुआ है. इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज क्यों डोमिनेटिंग है? इंग्लिश अंग्रेजों ने डोमिनेटिंग उसको बनाया या नहीं बनाया, दैट इज अ डिफरेंट पर्सपेक्टिव. अंग्रेजों के लिए इंग्लिश वॉज लाइक अ वेपन in their hands to colonize this country, to colonize the people, and to take the people in their grip, right? अगर आपको कभी भी उस तरह की लैंग्वेज पॉलिटिक्स समझनी है तो नगुगी वाथिंगो का एक वर्क है डिकोलोनाइजिंग द माइंड, कि किस तरह से जो है ब्रिटिश ने हर हर लैंड में जहां उन्होंने कोलोनाइजेशन का जो है एक तरह से अपनी जड़ें जमाई, किस तरह से उन्होंने लैंग्वेज को यूज किया, किस तरह से स्कूल्स में मिशनरी स्कूल्स उन्होंने विद द पर्पस दे एस्टेब्लिश द मिशनरी स्कूल्स एंड दे मेड इट कंपल्सरी टू रीड एंड राइट इन इंग्लिश, एंड इंग्लिश यूज्ड टू बी अ प्रेस्टिजियस लैंग्वेज एट दैट टाइम। ठीक है, तो एक तो वो डिबेट हमारे सामने है जो हम देखते हैं कि जो इंग्लिश स्पीकिंग लोग होते हैं समवेयर दे फील देमसेल्व्स सुपीरियर इन कंपैरिजन टू दोज हु डू नॉट स्पीक इंग्लिश, राइट। लेकिन ये डिबेट आता कहाँ से है? कहीं ना कहीं आम जनमानस में से निकल के आता है कि आम जनमानस जो है उसने अपनी सोच ऐसी बनाई हुई है कि जो इंग्लिश बोल रहे हैं, इंग्लिश पढ़ रहे हैं, दे आर सुपीरियर, एंड जो इंग्लिश बोल नहीं रहे हैं वो सुपीरियर नहीं है। कहीं ना कहीं क्लास को भी रिफ्लेक्ट करता है कि एक अपने आप को जो है एक रिच क्लास, एलिट क्लास साबित करने के लिए आपने देखा होगा जनरली लोगों को बातचीत करते हुए दैट व्हेन दे वांट टू शो देमसेल्व्स एलिट और रिच और समवेयर सुपीरियर टू अदर पीपल, दे स्पीक इन इंग्लिश, राइट। तो ये तो डिबेट हमारे यहाँ सुपीरियरिटी का, लैंग्वेज की इन्फीरियरिटी का पहले से ही बना हुआ है, जबकि इंग्लिश इज द लैंग्वेज ऑफ आवर कन्वीनियंस। अगर आप उसको समझे तो इफ वी मेक इट ओनली अ लैंग्वेज ऑफ आवर कन्वीनियंस, नॉट लाइक सुपीरियरिटी एंड इन्फीरियरिटी, दो आई टीच इंग्लिश बट आई नेवर फील दैट हिंदी इज inferior to English in any way. We have rich literature in Hindi, we have rich grammar in Hindi. तो हम ये नहीं कह सकते कि हिंदी लैंग्वेज जो है वो किसी भी एंगल से इंफीरियर है इंग्लिश से, या हिंदी लैंग्वेज उस कैपेबल नहीं है कि उसको जो है हम एक वर्ल्ड वाइड यूज कर सकें। लेकिन उस रीइंफोर्समेंट के लिए जो है दैट वुड बी अनफेयर विद other people who belong to those the regions where Hindi is not spoken. तो हिंदी किसी भी मामले में इंफीरियर नहीं है। इसलिए ये जो डिबेट निकल के आती है जनमानस में कहीं ना कहीं एक सुपीरियरिटी की या डोमिनेंसी की, ठीक है, तो वो आम जनमानस से निकल के ही फिर इन्फ्लुएंस करती है पूरा एक सिनेरियो। लेकिन उसके साथ साथ अगर हम हिंदी को और जो दूसरी रीजनल लैंग्वेजेस हैं, अगर हम एक क्लास उसमें भी एक जो है क्रिएट करते हैं कि नहीं हिंदी को हम नेशनल लैंग्वेज एक्सेप्ट कर रहे हैं बट दूसरी जो लैंग्वेजेस हैं वो उसके मुकाबले कहीं ना कहीं कमतर हैं, तो वो एक और बड़ा चैलेंज होगा या डिबेट होगा, राइट। तो लैंग्वेज को, जैसे कि लैंग्वेज अपने आप में बहुत आर्बिट्रेरी है, बहुत ही नेचुरल है मीन्स है कम्युनिकेशन का, अगर हम लैंग्वेज को उस पर्सपेक्टिव में देखें और जो एक आम जनमानस है उसके पॉलिटिक्स से ज्यादा उसके कन्वीनियंस पे, उसका जो है किस तरह से लैंग्वेज कॉम्प्लीमेंट्री यूज की जा रही है, अगर हम उस चीज पे फोकस करें तो वो ज्यादा एक तरह से जो है लोगों के लिए अच्छा होगा। क्योंकि आपने कभी देखा होगा, शायद आप लोगों ने कभी, मैंने बस में जैसे कभी मैं डीटीसी में ट्रेवल करती थी, आई नोटिस मेनी टाइम्स कि समटाइम्स पीपल यूज्ड टू स्टार्ट फाइट कि नहीं तुम बिहार से हो या तुम हरियाणा से हो या तुम्हारी लैंग्वेज ऐसी है या तुम्हारी लैंग्वेज वैसी है। तो वो क्यों होती है? क्योंकि लोग अपने आप को सही साबित करना चाहते हैं कि हम जैसे बोलते हैं, हम जैसे रहते हैं, वो ज्यादा अच्छा तरीका है दूसरों के कंपैरिजन में, राइट। तो ये जो बहुत सारी चीजें हैं ये उस तरह की इंडिया में जो है डिबेट मतलब अपने आप में चलती रहती है, बट रियली इट्स अ बिग चैलेंज टू एक्सेप्ट एनी लैंग्वेज एज ए नेशनल लैंग्वेज एंड टू मेक पीपल रेडी टू एक्सेप्ट दैट ऑल ओवर द कंट्री कि नहीं ये ठीक है या ये जो है एक्सेप्टेबल है। आप किसी भी लैंग्वेज को लेके आएंगे, आप एक स्टेट की लैंग्वेज लेके आएंगे, दूसरा स्टेट उसको अपोज करेगा कि नहीं ये हम क्यों एक्सेप्ट करें, हमारी लैंग्वेज तो ये नहीं है, व्हाई यू वांट टू इम्पोज दिस लैंग्वेज ओवर अस, राइट। तो आप इंग्लिश को भी नहीं कर सकते, आप हिंदी तो छोड़िए आप इंग्लिश को भी नहीं कर सकते हैं। अगर इंग्लिश को ये मान लिया जाए कि ना इंग्लिश को, नो इट इज नॉट पॉसिबल बिकॉज द मेजॉरिटी ऑफ पीपल इन दिस कंट्री लिव इन विलेजेस वेयर इंग्लिश इज नॉट स्पोकन on that large scale. English is spoken in cities, but people do not live only in cities, people live in villages also. जो रीजनल हमारा जो एक पूरा स्ट्रक्चर है, जो एरिया है, तो आप उस सकते हैं। और वहाँ पे इंग्लिश क्या आप जाके देखिए कि जहाँ जिस जगह हम बैठे हुए हैं दिल्ली के आसपास, यहाँ से आप 50 किलोमीटर बड़ौत बागपत जाइए, आपको हिंदी का एक डिफरेंट डायलेक्ट मिलेगा। दूसरी तरफ आप 50 किलोमीटर आप बुलंदशहर की तरफ जाइए, आपको हिंदी का डिफरेंट डायलेक्ट मिलेगा, राइट। तो इंडिया में जो है लैंग्वेज अपने आप में बहुत ही कॉम्प्लेक्स एक फिनोमिना है, जिसे समझना और उसके प्रैक्टिकल एस्पेक्ट को ध्यान में रखना बहुत जरूरी है। लैंग्वेज पॉलिटिक्स अपनी जगह है, but that is also important to take care of that practical the purpose of language, that how it is going to serve that purpose for common man, right? So बहुत अच्छा टॉपिक आप लोगों ने ये चूज किया है आज का, लैंग्वेज लैंड एंड द पीपल, क्योंकि कहीं ना कहीं लोगों से जुड़े होते हैं एंड पीपल आर अफेक्टेड वॉट एवर हैपन्स इन द country or in any society. Ultimately these are people who are impacted by that the change or by that any such incidents, right? So आई विश यू ऑल गुड लक। आप लोग अच्छे अच्छे लेक्चर जो है ऑर्गेनाइज कर रहे हैं। मैं तो पोस्टर देखती हूँ कि कई बार बच्चे बहुत अच्छे टॉपिक लेके आ रहे हैं, और जैसा कि मैंने पहले भी कहा था कि आप लोगों के पास एक स्कोप है रिसर्च करने का किसी भी टॉपिक पे, और आप अपने जो है एक तरह से कॉन्फिडेंस आपका आप लोगों का बढ़ेगा। आप जब भी किसी टॉपिक पे बोलते हैं, अच्छी रिसर्च करने का आप लोगों को और जो है हौसला बढ़ेगा कि आप उस टॉपिक पे और पढ़ सकते हैं और अच्छा कुछ आगे कर सकते हैं। I wish you all the very best and congratulate you for organizing this series. It's an amazing thing for our college. श्यामलाल इवनिंग के लिए बहुत अच्छा है कि एक ऐसे प्लेटफॉर्म पे आप लोग ये लेक्चर्स ऑर्गेनाइज कर रहे हैं जहां बच्चे अपने आप को एक्सप्रेस कर पा रहे हैं और अपने आप को एसोसिएट कर पा रहे हैं अलग अलग चैलेंजिंग मुद्दों से। थैंक यू।
Thank you very much, ma'am. We are honored to have your presence here and for inundating your views about the talk and series. Now, I would like to call Miss Mandira Paul to give vote of thanks.
Language is a vital part of human connection. Although all species have their ways of communicating, humans are the only ones that have mastered cognitive language communication. Language allows us to share our ideas, thoughts, and feelings with others. It has the power to build societies but also tear them down. As India is the home of a very large number of languages, in fact, so many languages and dialects are spoken in India that is often described as museum of languages. We often use different language in different place. We use different language at home, school, colleges, or any other workplace, which leads sometimes dominance of other language over our own language. Good evening, everyone. As you may know, the Department of History achieved new heights during the session 2016-17 under the convenership of Dr. D.N. Singh sir, Pramod Kumar sir, Dr. Manish Karamwar sir, Dr. Seema Meena ma'am, and Mr. Ajay Kumar sir has achieved new heights during the session 2016-17, and it's for the first time Sakshi, our society formed Sakshi. The current office bearer of 2021, Mr. Ankit as president, me as vice president, Mr. Shubham Tiwari as secretary, Ms. Preeti Rai as joint secretary, Ms. Chandni Shikarwar as treasurer. Myself, Mandira Paul, student of BA program History and Political Science and Vice President of Sakshi, I deemed it's a great honor and privilege to purpose the vote of thanks. First and foremost, I would like to thank our special guest, Dr. Kusum ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your thoughtful and interesting address. I would like to thank all the teachers who joined us today. Dr. Pankajendra Kishore sir, Dr. Dharma Rawat ma'am, Dr. Seema Meena ma'am, Mr. Ajay Kumar sir. I would like to express my deep gratitude to convener Dr. D.N. Singh sir for his presence in this program. I would like to thank GSTS team and Shakshi team who ran around all the things. A big thanks to our speaker Manisha Verma who gave us huge information about language, as language itself a huge topic. Thank you so much, Miss Manisha Verma. I heartily thank to all the students for joining us today. I thank for being with us. Have a great day ahead and stay tuned for the next Sunday's talk, 1857 in Delhi by Raj Thakur. Till then, stay safe, stay at home. Thank you once again for cooperating us. Thank you.
Thank you, Kusum ma'am. Thank you for joining. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you all. Thank you, Manisha. So it's time to leave. Okay. Thank you, Ajay, for everything. Thank you very much.